So hi, good morning everybody. My name is Spero. I'm a research fellow at the University of Auckland in New Zealand. And today I'm presenting findings from a study in which we investigate the linguistic and cultural factors that can affect phishing susceptibility among Pasifika participants. And so first, Pasifika is the word we use in New Zealand to refer to the people of the Pacific Islands. So these are the islands to the north and east of Australia. They are many in number. Traditionally, this region is divided into three different subregions, and those are Polynesia, Micronesia, and Melanesia. Each has its own distinct culture, geography, and they form different linguistic subgroups as well. In our study, we work with a group from Melanesia. So this research was prompted originally by a few high-profile news articles in New Zealand media documenting an increase in scams targeting Pasifika communities specifically. And in many cases, it seemed like that the attackers were leveraging knowledge of Pasifika culture to make the attack more effective. Our research group at the University of Auckland, we specialize in phishing prevention, and so we thought we would try to help by looking at the unique challenges faced by Pasifika people when it comes to phishing. So additionally, Pasifika languages have very few speakers compared to languages like English. And there are very few computational resources that exist for developing tools like mail filters. So this suggests that for a phishing email written in a Pasifika language, it'll be easier for it to get past mail filters and get to the user's inbox than emails written in English. The advent of LLMs have also increased the overall threat to Pasifika people when it comes to phishing, and so it's now possible to create convincing-looking phishing emails in these relatively obscure languages, and to do so at scale. And so these three issues each compound the overall threats faced by Pasifika people in phishing. Prior work has shown that both language and culture can affect phishing susceptibility. And so two studies, for example, have shown that a low individualism has been associated with an increase in susceptibility. In both cases, the authors suggest that this is because in collectivist cultures, people may feel a greater need to respond to requests from others to maintain social harmony. Another study actually presented at SOUPS a couple of years ago. Participants from South Korea were more likely to follow instructions in a phishing email when the email was written in their native Korean as opposed to English. And so we pursued the following research question. We asked, how do linguistic and cultural cues in phishing emails influence susceptibility among Pasifika people? And we addressed this question through a simulated phishing campaign. Our contributions are as follows. We're the first simulated phishing campaign study that focuses on Pasifika people specifically. We're also the first to demonstrate what's called a foreign language effect in phishing. A foreign language effect, I'll explain what this is in a few slides. We're also the first to isolate and compare the influences of different natural languages on susceptibility. And we find sort of at a very high level that natural language can be another tool in the attacker's toolbox. So it can be leveraged to increase the susceptibility in their targets. For the study, we partnered with a Melanesian country government who were doing this study as part of the phishing awareness campaign. So each month, 2,000 employees of this government would receive a phishing email created by us in their inbox. And this went on for 4 months, so there was 4 emails in total. Yes, we created 4 email types or templates, and then there was 2 language variants for each. The originals were created in English, and we had these translated to a local language spoken by our participants, which happens to be the national language of this country, so we call it NL for short. Every month, half would see the email in English, half would see the email in NL, and this assignment would alternate month to month. We recorded whether the email was open inside their clients and whether they clicked on a link within the email. If they click on the link within the email, they're sent to a questionnaire where we ask a few questions about demographics and a few questions about their perceptions on topics related to language and emails. So our 4 email types can be put into 2 categories. The first is commercial emails. So these emails purport to come from businesses. On the left, the email claims to come from AII Express, which is a homograph attack on AliExpress. On the right, the image claims to come from Jet Pacific Airlines, which is a fictitious airline that we created for the study. The second category are personal requests for help. So these emails both claim to come from somebody who appears to be socially close to the target. On the left, the target, in both cases, they're asking for help, and this help requires the target clicks on a link within the email. So on the left, the target is asked to open up a budget document. On the right, the church has asked them to open up an agenda document. This table shows the respective rates for the two event types that we collected, open email and click link. So overall, so averaging across languages and across months, we find that about 7 in 10 people open the email inside their client, and 14.5% clicked on a link within the email. When the email is written in English, these rates are a little bit lower, and when it's written in NL, they're a little bit higher. These two bar plots here show the counts for the two event types broken down by email type, or by month, by campaign, in other words. And so within each email type, we were interested in seeing if there's a language effect. So did writing the email in one language or another cause an increase in email opened instances or click links? And for this, we used the generalized estimating equations analysis. For email opened, we didn't have any data for the first month because of a server misconfiguration issue. This was fixed in subsequent months. In months 2 through 4, for email open, we don't have any language effect. That's also true of the click link counts for the first 2 months, and these are the commercial emails. However, for the third and fourth month, we do see a language effect, and specifically, when the email is written in NL, the email received more clicks than when it was written in English. And the latter two emails are phishing requests for help. Here's an overview of some of the more important findings from our questionnaire related to language. And so 9 in 10 described their competency in NL as being fluent. We asked about how they felt about NL emails in general compared to English emails, and they rated NL emails as being more personal, understandable, trustworthy, and curiosity-inducing. Some open-ended responses suggest that there's a deep felt resonance that they have with NL, and so this comes across in statements like, NL is the national language of our people, and NL is our identity. So I mentioned earlier that our findings are an example of the foreign language effect. This refers to a really robust finding in cognitive psychology and neurolinguistics that shows for a subset of decision-making tasks, quite a large subset, that natural language can influence decision-making. And more specifically, the following pattern holds. So for some decision-making tasks, when a task is given in a participant's native language, this causes the participants to make decisions that are more emotional/moral in nature, compared to when the task is given in a non-native language, where decisions are a bit more coldly rational. And so native language here refers to languages that are learned early in life and to a high degree of proficiency. There are two proposed explanations for the foreign language effect. The first is that many of the decision-making tasks that elicit this effect have a high emotionality associated with them. And when thinking in a non-native language, other research has shown conclusively that we're more emotionally detached when thinking in a non-native language. The second explanation is that many of the decision-making tasks that elicit this effect have a strong moral component to them. And so in non-native languages, when thinking in non-native languages, so we learn moral and cultural norms through social interactions that are mediated by language. And also, it's been shown that memories contain traces of the language of encoding. So culture and language and moral norms are closely bound together in many ways. And so this finding here is a foreign language effect for phishing, but importantly, only when the emails contain a request for help. And so we expect NL to function like a native language because it's learned early in life and to a high degree of proficiency. And we expect English to function like a non-native language because it's learned later in life into a lower degree of proficiency. And the pattern we see here in the case of personal requests for help matches the pattern seen in other instances of the foreign language effect. So when thinking in a non-native language, participants are more likely to make the decision that is more coldly rational, which is to ignore the request for help. When the email is written in a native language, they're thinking in a native language, they're more likely to make the more moral decision to respond to the request, or more culturally-based decision to respond to the request. And so, we see this pattern in the case of help requests, phishing attacks, and not in commercial emails. We think that's because help request phishing attacks have both a stronger emotional component and a stronger moral/cultural component. The emotional component is that these attacks work by triggering a sympathetic response in their target. The moral cultural component is that, so the belief that helping others is a good thing. There's evidence that this is a cultural universal, at least to an extent. There's also evidence that there's an increased emphasis on this belief in collectivist cultures and Melanesian culture. These are collectivist cultures. And what's more, there's evidence that there's an especially intense emphasis on this in Melanesian cultures. So apparently it's the case that in Melanesian culture, it's difficult to turn down requests from help from those who are in the same social group as you. Social groups are determined along a number of different dimensions, but an important one is language. So the name for these, what they refer to these social groups as is Wantok, which comes from the English one talk, meaning people who speak the same language. So either or both of these could be the driving force behind the foreign language effect in our study. Our methodology does not allow us to say which is more likely, but we think this would be a good subject for future work. We also think that cross-cultural studies should be done to see if the foreign language effect we observe here is more culture-bound or if it is a universal. Also, we think that these types of studies could be used to see if maybe different cultures are more susceptible to different types of phishing attacks. So we actually think that it's possible that Pasifika cultures are more vulnerable to help request phishing attacks. And so, are other cultures, do they have their own sort of unique susceptibilities? Finally, we want to close with a practical suggestion for researchers. So usable security and privacy research, it often involves asking people to make decisions, and it often involves linguistic stimuli. If the linguistic stimuli is non-native to participants, this is potentially a confound in the results because the participants might be acting in a way that is different from how they would be acting if the study was given in their native language. And so we suggest collecting some demographic data on the proficiency of the language that the study is delivered in from participants, and perhaps asking them also the age they initially learned the language. This would allow researchers to control for this effect. Okay, thank you very much.